these wonderful chorus girls. And you must remember, with a variety show like today, why we haven't got any. Well, I'm pleased to say we've found one. Living in a little back street tenement in the East End. Well, she went out last night, I'm afraid. She's had a few. We found her this morning with the Millwall football players in the bath. But she's added a bit more rouge to what she wore last night. A bit more lipstick. Please give a very, very sympathetic, warm welcome to the one and only Dockyard Doris!
It's a joy to be here in Millwall. I come from Bethnal Green. I thought, how can I get down to the den? I thought, I'll get the old route master, the number 8 bus. Do you remember them girls? And I didn't know what the weather was going to be like, so I wore the dress with the buttons up the back. And when the bus came along, I grabbed hold of the pole and cocked my leg up, and I couldn't get on the bus because the dress was too tight. So I put my hand behind and undone a button like you do. And I grabbed hold of the pole again and cocked my leg up, and I still couldn't get on the bus. So I put my hand behind for the second time and undone another button, and they're all in the queue, touching. I thought, sodom, I'm not moving, you know. And I grabbed hold of the pole for the third time, and I still couldn't get on the bus. So I put my hand behind and undone another button, and all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, this man in the queue, he picked me up and he put me on the platform. I thought the age of chivalry is not dead. I said, thank you very much, cock. He said, not at all, dear, they were my buttons you were undoing. I didn't know where to put my face. But it ain't nice to get out for a day, innit, eh? Because you get no help, do you? You get on the DHSSSSSS, and they're all sat behind the bulletproof glass, and they reading the Undertaker's Weekly. She said, name. I said, Dockyard Doris. She said, date of birth. I said, 8th of February. She said, what year? I said, every bloody year, dear. What a stupid question that is to ask a woman. She said, what was your last position? I said, well, my head was out the car window, my legs was over the steering. No, she said. What was your last job? I said, ink monitor. I thought, pick the bones out of that, girl. Oh dear. And my next door neighbour, when she first moved in, she said, your house is the same as mine, love, but back to front. I said, that's right. She said, the same size. She said, how many rolls of wallpaper did you buy for your lounge? I said, 8. About a week later, I saw her in Tesco. She stuck her nose in the air. I said, what's up with you? She said, you've been telling me porky pies. I said, I've only just met you. She said, I asked you how many rolls of wallpaper you bought for your lounge, and you told me 8. I said, that's correct. She said, I've got 3 left over. I said, so have I. Silly cat. She used to say to me every Saturday, if I won the lottery, it wouldn't change my life. 2 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, she won 2.5 million. She moved up to Hendon. She bought a big plot of land, built a house. She said to me, we're going away for Christmas, me and the old man. I said, where are you going? She said, we're going to the to the West Indies. I said, how long are you going away for? She said, 14 weeks. I said, what about your animals? She said, I was wondering whether you could go up and look after them and feed them for us. So every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, I used to get the Green Line bus up to Hendon, feed the animals. I met her 14 weeks later at Heathrow Airport, and I had bad news to tell her. And ladies and gentlemen, when you've got bad news, I thought, how can I break it? I thought, I know. I'll say I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. And she's bound to say to me, what's the good news? But she didn't. She said, what's the bad news? I said, your dog's dead. She said, me dog? He was only a puppy. How did it die? I said, the horse kicked it. She said, the horse? It was only a foal, 6 hands high. What made it kick the dog? I said, well, it was escaping from the stables. She said, what do you mean escaping? I said, well, it was on fire. On fire? She said, how did that start? I said, well, it spread from the house. She said, my house was burnt down. I said, I'm ever so sorry. She said, how did that start? I said, well, a candle fell off your father's coffin. She said, my dad's dead. I said, yeah. She said, when did he die? I said, 2 weeks after your mother. My mother's passed over. I said, I'm ever so sorry. She said, if that's the bad news, Doris, what's the good news? I said, well, the heat from the fire has brought your daffodils up, dear. But you're lucky to see me in the flesh this afternoon because I've had a bereavement. My little doggy passed away. He wasn't one of them flash dogs you see around Millwall, them Rottweilers. He was an old Cockney dog. Black patch on one eye, lame in one leg, castrated and deaf. Answer to the name of Lucky. It's all very well you being a dog, but being a deaf dog's no good. You shout din-dins, he don't hear bugger all and don't get nothing. This woman said to me, have you been to Harrods? I said, where? She said, Harrods. They sell doggy deaf aids in the pet department. She meant Harrods. I went up to Harrods in it posh. I said to this lady in the pet department, do you sell these doggy deaf aids? She said, yes, dear. I said, how much are they? She said, £232. And I come home and they're all walking down Bethnal Green with the Tesco bags and I've got the green bag with Harrods. You feel ever so flash, don't you? And he was waiting for me on the doorstep. And I picked him up and I put some newspaper on the table. And I put him on the newspaper. And I read the instructions. And I strapped the batteries under his little chest. And I put the hearing aid in his ear hole. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in his life, he must have heard. And he must have heard the doggy next door barking because he went limping off the table. And he went out into the garden, and he must have heard the bees buzzing, and he must have heard the Tweety birds singing, and he went limping down to the bottom of the garden where the old oak tree is, cocked his leg up, pissed all over the batteries and blew his bloody head off. Mima. No, please, it's a very old building, don't clap too loud. My mum said, don't upset yourself, Doris, it's like falling off a bicycle. If you don't get back on again, you'll never do it. She said, get yourself down the pet shop and get yourself another dog. I goes down the shop, I said, have you any dogs left? He said, only one, dear, in the cage. Oh, God. One of them chihuahuas, like a rat on legs. I said, how much is that? He said, 42 quid. I took it home, my mum said, what's that, Doris? I said, it's a chihuahua. She said, it's not right. I said, what you talking about? She said, when you stroke a chihuahua, Doris, it should feel like velvet. It shouldn't have little rough hairs sticking up like that. You're way ahead of me over there, now stop it. I said, what should I do, Mum? So get yourself down the chemist's. I goes down the chemist, I said to the bloke behind the counter, excuse me, sir, have you anything to remove little short hairs? Yes. He said, come back in half an hour, Doris, and I'll make something up for you. I goes back, he gives me this pot of cream, he says, here you are, love, rub that on your legs twice a day. I said, you silly sausage, it's not for me legs, it's for me little chihuahua. He said, in that case, don't ride your bike for a fortnight. Now, the strange... Where I live in Bethnal Green, there's a very exotic place called the Hackney Marshes. The River Lee runs through the Hackney Marshes, and that's where you went 60 years ago, over the Lee on a Sunday afternoon, because nobody could bother you when you were sat in the long grass with your boyfriend. That was before Channel 5 started. And when my Auntie Alice come home and told her mum, my great Auntie Queenie, that she was pregnant at the age of 52, she looked her straight in the eye and she said, well, that must have happened one Sunday over the Lee. One Sunday over the Lee, my fella done it to me. Well, he done it once, then he done it twice, and then he had the flipping cheek to say it wasn't nice. My mother had a surprise when she saw my belly rise, 'cause what's worth having is worth waiting for. One Sunday over the Lee, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger. Now once it was nice and small, now it's as big as an old beach ball. I don't care what people say, I know it's getting bigger every day. Now I would if I could, and I could if I would, but I'm not that kind of a gal, 'cause I went riding with little Tommy Tucker. Everybody knows he's a dirty little out-tucker, riding along on his old machine. One Sunday over the Lee, sing with Doris, everybody. One Sunday over the Lee, my fella done it to me. Well, he done it once, then he done it twice, and then he had the flipping cheek to say it wasn't nice.
Colin Devereaux as Sophie Tucker.
Some of these days, you're gonna miss me, honey. Some of these days, you're gonna be so lonely. You'll miss my hugging. You're gonna miss my kissing. You're gonna miss me, honey. When you're far away, you'll be so lonely. Just for me only. And you know, honey, you always had your way. But if you leave me, you know you're gonna grieve me. You're gonna miss your big fat mama. Some of these days, everybody, here we go. Some of these days, you're gonna miss me, honey. Some of these days, you're gonna be so lonely. You'll miss my hugging. You're gonna miss my kissing. You're gonna miss me, honey. When you're far away, you'll be so lonely. Just for me only. And you know, honey, you always had your way. We finish. But if you leave me, you know you're gonna grieve me. You're gonna miss your big fat mama. Some of these days, one more time, you're gonna miss your big fat mama. Some of these days. Out here this afternoon. Every London borough had a theatre. And in the 50 years of coming over here from the United States, I was always asked to sing one particular song. And so with the aid of my pianist, Mr. Ted Shapiro, I should like to do that number we did all those years ago. Of things I should be thankful for, I've got my earthly share. And as I sit here in the comfort of an easy chair, my memory takes me back to an east side tenement, 4 floors in the rear. That's where my childhood days were spent. Well, it wasn't much like paradise, but beneath the dirt and all, there sits the sweetest angel, one whom I fondly call my Yiddish mama. I need her more than ever now. My Yiddish mama, I long to kiss her wrinkled brow. I long to hold her hand once more as in days gone by, and say, oh mama, please forgive me for the things I did that made you cry. How few were your pleasures. You never cared for fashion styles. All your jewels and your treasures, you found them in your baby's smiles. Oh, I know that I owe what I am today to that dear little lady, so old and so gray, to that wonderful Yiddish mama of mine. Oh, Yiddish mama, did that made you cry? How few were your pleasures? You never cared for fashion styles. All your jewels and your treasures, you found them in your baby's smiles. Oh, I know that I owe what I am today to that dear little lady, so old and so grey, to that